Where are we now, Steve?
We are at the Foothills Golf Club again, episode 12.
This is it. Move the Needle podcast is live from the Foothills Golf Club, as he just mentioned. And today we have an electrifying show that is certain to get your heart rate up.
Oh, no doubt.
Every guest on here is not a single person we have settled for.
No.
We are constantly looking to raise the bar and move the needle on this podcast.
We are.
Hi, I'm Amy Richardson, owner-agent at the Savvy Realty Group. How long will your Ahwatukee home be on the market? In a hot market, and I don't mean the heat of our summers, where there's limited inventory, meaning there are more buyers than homes to purchase, you can actually expect your home to sell in just a few days. Although, I highly recommend for allowing the home to have the proper marketing time so you can get the most amount of offers with the very best terms.
Hello, I'm Laura Hertzler, head of school here at Keystone Montessori, nestled in the Ahwatukee foothills. We are celebrating over 25 years of serving the community with authentic Montessori education. Our community at Keystone is home to 12 classrooms serving children from 15 months to 15 years old. We take great pride in each of our Montessori environments that support our students at each stage of their development. Please call us today for more information. We would be happy to welcome you to the Keystone family.
Okay, so let me just set the table for what's getting ready to happen today. We're going to welcome in Amanda Schnieder and Deb Shapiro from Amplify Voices in just a little while. Our local legend today is going to be Laura Hertzler, who, of course, is one of our partners at Keystone Montessori.
Absolutely.
Our first guest, though, is somebody that you see some mornings during the week.
I do. Very inspirational.
Okay. She is what they call a fitness. I shouldn't say, I don't want to put her in a box like that. I shouldn't just say they call her a fitness person or a fitness guru.
I don't know what you call her. I mean, she is fitness extraordinaire.
Okay, let's go with that. And that little dig and that little joke about how we never settle is because we are welcoming in on the show Sunny Settles.
Yes.
From F45 and beyond. I'm gonna give you that beyond because you do so much more than just F45, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well, and thank you for having me.
Did you work out today?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Did you work out today?
I did.
Okay. I worked out. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So, okay.
But I, I was just telling Steve earlier, I'm about to break up with my gym. I don't know what it is. I'm just so over the big box gyms, and I'm having a real hard time with it. And then I read in her bio that she has been in the boutique fitness space for several years. And so the first question I have for you is define that. What does a boutique fitness space mean?
Yeah. So boutique, just think about a fitness space that could fit within your big box gym, right? So the group fitness classes within, when you're coming for a workout, you're coming for a class. There's no open gym, so you're going to be led by a coach or two, depending on the class. But yeah, this is the world that I've been in for over a decade now.
What are people looking for in terms of fitness these days? Are they looking for the boutique experience? Are they going like personal training? I mean, I see these gyms where people have trailers and they literally drive to your house and you work out with you at your house. What are people looking for right now in the fitness space?
It's a great question. I would say community, right? Because you could do a home workout and turn it on your TV and plug in. And if you've got the discipline, do it. But community is what you're going to gain, and that's something I see most people looking for when they're walking through the boutique studio doors.
Well, I get the privilege of having Sunny train me usually multiple times per week.
Is that why you're looking so good these days?
Thank you. You never told me that before.
Let's go.
So, okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay. Since you said that, then I would have to say absolutely yes.
Yes?
Yes, because...
So what are you doing with her?
Every day, I'm an everydayer, and I think when you're committed every day to their program, you just show up and the results come.
Like, so what do you do? What is the workout
What
like?
is the work? The workouts are different, and that's the interesting thing and the exciting thing about F45 is every day is different, and it's group training, and a lot of times you have partners. So you show up. It's 45 minutes. That's the F45. I know a lot of people get confused. That's the 45.
I like that.
And it's an all-out blitz. I mean, you show up there. They are full of energy. Sunny. her husband Kyle, they are jumping through the roof. So you walk in 5-6 a.m. It's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon environment.
Y'all
there.
sipping on those ketones before you get going and get you revved up, or what's the secret?
Some sort of caffeine might be in there, but just good endorphins.
Yeah,
we like to take the workout
exactly.
before you guys do. So
Yeah. What does he mean? Different workouts every day?
yeah, so we're gonna ebb and flow between cardio and strength days. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday more cardio focused. Tuesday, Thursday more. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday more strength. Tuesday and Thursday more cardio, and then Saturday and Sunday hybrid. And all classes 45 minutes, but high intensity interval training where we're doing very functional style movements. Your body is the machine more so than putting you on one, but we've got all the toys in the fitness space that you would need to add resistance and intensity to your workouts.
But I want to talk what makes Sunny special is her outgoing personality, the way she interacts with the people at the gym. It's you feel like you know her. You feel like she's part of it, your journey. And I want to talk about that. How does your personality, how does that affect the way you train in a positive way? Talk about that.
I just want to show up and have fun and not take things so seriously, right? Like you can do any workout on any corner at this day and age. And so what separates you from the rest is how somebody feels when they walk through the door. And you either feel it or you don't when you walk in with someone who is going to deliver good energy. So that's how I work out. That's how I lead. That's how we train and develop our teammates. And sometimes that's not something that everybody just clicks with. So energy is really how I lead.
I have a question for you. When you Google the hottest trends of 2024 as it relates to fitness, you find 3 things that really stand out. And I want to take a second and go through each one of these, if you don't mind.
Love it.
Okay, so the first thing that you find, one of the hottest trends in fitness right now is wearable technology. Okay, so this is like devices that can track your sleep, your fitness, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your stress levels. Talk to me about where you think, where is the space for those things? Because we got by without them for hundreds and hundreds of years, and seemingly people worked out for hundreds and hundreds of years. What is their place in fitness from your vantage point?
Yeah, great question. I think that twofold answer to that question. I love my Apple Watch and I love to track steps. And that's such a simple thing that when you bring your attention to it, it improves, right? Where your focus goes. Things change. And we'd use wearable technology in F45 workouts. So there's either a chest strap or an arm strap.
Okay.
Also with the Apple Watch, that's something that can sync to our F45 TVs as well now, so that we can see, are you working out at the intensity you should be, or do we need to turn up or down, and really just accountability, right? Imagine driving a car without an odometer.
Oops.
I know this. I did the Orange Theory workout for a couple of years.
Great workout.
And you have the strap that you got to wear there too. And there is that little competition of like, am I in the orange? How am I doing? Am I working out hard enough?
How many points?
Yeah, so there probably is something to that.
Yep. If you can gamify something, it brings a bit more joy to the moment as well. Again, don't take things so serious, but some friendly competition will help people push the limits and
Okay, so one of the other things that you see when you Google fitness trends, Steve, is exercise as it relates to our mental health, which is a conversation we have almost every podcast. And so what do you know about how exercise helps us with stress, anxiety, depression, and sleep?
I would say that moving your body does nothing but make all of that better, right? It's just going to change your state. And I think that something so simple can be taken for granted, right? Movement. I never hear somebody leave a workout and like, dang, I'm so disappointed that I showed up for that workout. And if you move more, it just becomes that domino effect of things start to feel better. But I love exercise purely to change the state that you're in from whatever it might be. And generally that frequency or your energy is going to go up, not down. And for anything to go up, I think your mental state's going to follow that. So
yeah, my buddy Chris, you might know him because he's in the fitness space. Chris Powell.
Yes.
So
Chris.
he's one of my closest friends, and we did a podcast together. And he always used to say, "Mood follows movement," and so it's like, get out there, get moving, do something to your body. And the gym is one of those places. You probably heard this before, Steve, where it's like you hate walking in, you love walking out.
Amen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Like some
Facts.
mornings are just like
Yeah,
that, right?
just everybody kind of just strolls, and you know how it is in the morning. But again, when you're met with the energy, which Sonny brought up, that they bring to the workout. It doesn't take long. I mean, within 5 minutes, I mean, we're on the mat and we're warming up. So
Okay.
yeah, we're jumping right into it.
Part 3 of this in the hottest fitness trends is functional and high intensity interval training.
Yep.
And you just said that's exactly what F45 is. Why is that so hot right now?
It's efficient, right? If you can get in and you can move your body and you can check all the boxes in 45 minutes, why would you not, right? Versus going to a big box and talking to your friends and getting lost in all the conversations. So I think that is huge, but high intensity specifically goes up, goes down, and it's shown to have such a great response after the workout, right? No magic happens in 45, it happens after.
Yeah, and there's something along with that, and that's what they teach at F45, and there's teamwork actually involved in there. You have partnership, and she could talk about that too. You're not alone in the journey you walk in. Most of the time you have a partner, you're either working together, but talk about how teamwork, how you guys look at teamwork as coaching in the gym.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the taglines for F45, team training, life changing. So together you get that energy and you are usually partnered with somebody or paired with somebody. What I love most about that is everything's timed, right? So nobody's waiting on you. However, you probably have a bit more excitement or motivation to move when somebody is near you. So just that natural energy that is contagious, right?
Yeah.
How do you decide who you're going to get partnered up with? Is it like...
Depends how your coach is feeling for the day.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in theory, you can stand next to or be next to the person that you want to be a partner with, but it's also fun to shake it up and get you outside of your comfort zone here and there, and that's how we create new friendships within the...
Usually I don't know. I mean, I'm one of the ones
So you don't know your partner?
You just don't know
Surprise.
my partner.
Because I go to the gym by myself. I don't go with anybody else.
And I
right?
actually do. I work. There's no doubt when I'm standing next to somebody and we're counting reps. You go a little harder. There's no doubt, and you push each other. But honestly it's a teamwork friendly environment. I love it. I'm going to challenge you if you're in this space where you don't know where you are.
We're getting ready to walk. My membership is up in 2 days.
I'm telling you, what they do is you go in and you work and you leave, and that's really what you want, and then you get on with your day, and that's it doesn't become cumbersome or too tied up. Again, I'm home, you're working out 7 o'clock, you're back, returning emails, and your day has started. And so you're fired up.
What happens in these workouts? They all have different names. I was looking at it online, and every workout has a different name. Some use resistance bands. Are you using dumbbells or anything like that in these workouts too?
Yeah, all the equipment you can imagine are in there, and there's a different title for the workout. But if you can just think the strength or the cardio days as a new comer to F45, don't get too hung up in the names. You'll learn your favorites, but we'll run a phase for 4 weeks. And then just when you get familiar with the workouts, a new phase will roll out and that lineup will be recycled, but no 2 workouts are ever the same. So they vary.
What is a good entry level workout at F45? Like, is there one that you'd like for somebody who's going to try it out? Like, I would recommend this.
I'm going to go with the Saturday, and here's why. Saturday is the one workout of the week that is 60 minutes instead of 45. And it just sets the tone, and then everything relatively feels a little bit, I won't say easier, but shorter. And if you can do a Saturday, you're set up for success at F45.
I love the Saturdays. It's honestly my
best.
favorite day. It's the workouts are usually a lot of stations. I mean,
27 sometimes.
27 stations goes by fast. Oh yeah.
It's bigger than I thought then. Where are you guys located?
We do a lot with a little space. You're talking.
I wouldn't say it's little.
Well,
it's a
not
medium.
little. I mean, in comparison
it's
to a
not
big box,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Sure.
But there's a station, one body at a station if there's 27. So yeah, we move the floor or change the floor between every workout. So it looks different every time you walk in. But most, if not all, fitness equipment is in-house.
Where do you go? Which location do you work
South
at?
Tempe. That's right
Tempe
there.
South.
Tempe
Ray and
South.
Rural.
Ray and Rural.
Ray and Rural. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
Are there other locations here in the East Valley as well?
Yeah, and F45 just started a new thing called Passport. So if you sign up at one, you can do 6 visits at other locations throughout the month, and then another 6 will renew. But your home base is where you're attending the majority of your classes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, this is good. I have a couple of more questions for you. Anything you want?
Fire
away.
I got a couple, but you go first.
I want to ask you something that I saw in your bio. This has nothing to do with fitness, really.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
Okay.
It says, you ready for this?
Yeah.
It says, quote, I pride myself on being direct yet fair, creating a work environment that values transparency and honesty. What does that look like?
I think honesty is, well, we all know what that means, but just lead with energy and honesty, and then everything falls into place after that. But I also am a firm believer in just communicating directly, right? Saying it how it is, but delivering with love. And if everything's done with love, there's no problem on the flip side.
I wondered, is that what you mean as it relates to difficult conversations, or is this more about the feedback that you provide the people that are working out with you?
Both. All. I think how you do one thing is how you do everything. I say that with workouts, when you're practicing, whether you're talking to an athlete in the prep for the game, when you're talking to an employer, an employee, a partner, right? Deliver everything with those pieces in mind. You're consistent.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, about people who care, and we have a lot of those on the show. Almost every our guest, you have a big caring for humans and others, and so does Sunny. I mean, I found out not only does Sunny care about the people in the gym, she also does things outside the gym on Tuesdays. Talk about No One Alone. Talk about your passions that you do on Tuesdays besides the gym.
Yeah. So it starts and ends with dogs. Dogs are the passion project that I'm always working on. And in fact, I was there today. It is Tuesday. Imagine that. So Alone No More Dog Rescue is where I volunteer time, where I'm walking dogs. It's an amazing rescue. I am not on the board. I'm purely just a volunteer with them. And most, if not all, of the dogs at Alone No More have been saved from the E-list. They were scheduled to be euthanized for whatever reason, that they were astray or they were surrendered by their owner and whatever. It's a whole nother world and a lot of sad things, but also when you find out how you can give back, Alone No More is working with these dogs to make them more readily available for adoption.
But what do you do? See, again, she's at the gym, and then what does she do on
She
Tuesdays?
runs them, man.
Yeah, she runs them.
I get out there and get
she's,
my
she's
steps.
working out too.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Get them on the dog treadmill. She's getting after
What do you
it.
do?
So the dogs, they get walks, they get time in the splash pad, they get time in the yard. And so today I worked with probably 6 different ones. And glad you asked, but currently I have 2 dogs. And as of tomorrow, I might personally have 3 dogs.
Ooh,
I don't know what I got myself into today.
You fell in love with someone today?
There was a puppy husky, and I'm a husky girl. And
I looked right at your husband just to see what that reaction was like, and he's very steadfast. No reaction. No reaction.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
With the I mean, of course, I've got a rescue, and me and Matthew, we've talked about this before. Love those dogs. There's got to be some heartwarming stories. Tell us a heartwarming story from. I know it's Alone No More.
Yes.
I messed that up in the beginning. Alone No More. Tell us a funny story. Tell us a heartwarming story with these dogs that are kind of left for whatever.
Well, I think anytime you see one of the dogs get adopted and they're on their freedom ride, if you will, it
So
fills
tell us
your
about
cup.
have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw that again
What's a
today.
freedom ride?
That's your ride out of the rescue and onto your forever home.
Who rode out on the sunset today?
So, I mean, today I'm just going to use, it's just the timing of this question is perfect because today was a great situation. Typically, we are having a challenge finding homes for dogs. And today we ran into a scenario where so many people want the dogs on deck right now that we were worried about hurting the people's feelings because so many humans were interested in the dogs. And I guess a specific situation, a coach that used to work with us, her name's Taylor. She and her husband just got married, and she came in today and looked at one of the dogs, and he's going home with them on Saturday. I'm taking one home tomorrow, and another dude.
So just a second ago it was like maybe, and now it sounds really definitive.
Now she's making
that was
room for him.
5 minutes ago, okay?
Stop.
This might happen.
Okay, it's happening.
This is happening.
This is buying an extra bowl on the way home.
Right. I've got the kennel. I've got the bowl. I went and got food. But it might happen. I love it.
There's room for changes, but it's very likely to happen.
That's so cool. What a good thing that you get to do. And I know your free time isn't abundant because being a business owner and all of the things that you're into, there's a lot to it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a ton to it.
Yep.
Well, all right. I learned a lot, man.
Yes.
I think the final question that I want to ask you is, I probably represent a good amount of people who can be a little intimidated by HIIT workout. When I hear that, I'm like, oh gosh, that's not what I want. But is it for somebody who maybe hasn't been moving a ton and is looking to get back into fitness? And then I'm also guessing it's for those people that have been into fitness but want to take it up another level.
Yes, and yes. I
Yes
think
and yes.
that, high intensity, whether it's F45 or Orange Theory, all of the high all workouts on the streets are great. You got to find the workout that speaks to you and that you will stay sustainable with. But is it for everyone? The answer is yes, right? I think that if you can hear doing 3 times a week of a workout that speaks to you will make a big difference in your world. And not overcommitting, right? A small goal. Not saying I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to go 7 days a week for the next 3 months in a row. I'm going to get to 3 to 4 workouts per week. And once you establish that, then turn it up a notch, but set yourself up for success. And also, to your second part of your question, somebody who's been working out for the last 10 years that's looking to turn it up a notch, they could be by your side and have an equally challenging workout because they're in charge of what they get out, right? Coaches are going to lead, but you get out what you put in that workout.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, man.
Love
Maybe
it.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't about me. It's
maybe
about
I
her,
get
but-
another
Yeah,
dog.
Yep.
Maybe you give it a shot.
Yeah, exactly. No, how about you both? Yeah. How about you just give it a shot
Tomorrow.
Show
I
up.
know, right? Just hop right in the deep end.
You know who to talk to.
I sure do. Sonny Settles, thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
Really
Sonny.
appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
F45 is out there. It's available for people. I think we learned everything we're going to about it. And so, if you're compelled to jump in, jump in.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun and guaranteed results. I will say that.
And
And
Guaranteed
Steve
results.
Petz might be your partner.
Might be your partner. Come on.
Sonny
I
might be
will
your coach.
She will be your coach.
Or work out right next to you. Depends on the day.
Yes, you're right. And she works out hard. I'll tell you, you get her as a partner, look out.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Look
I'm
out.
like, can I trade? She's going way too hard for me, man.
But once you get going, that's what you want because that pushes you. I mean, I'm telling you, you'll have so much. You're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah.
And the music, we didn't even talk about
Famous
that.
last words. You're going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
You're going to love this. I love it when people
We
say
call it
that.
fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
We call it a party.
Yeah, birthday party.
All right,
It's
we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to one of our local legends. She's been the head of school for Keystone Montessori for a long time. We're going to find out, what is that about? What does it mean to be a Montessori school? How can I enroll? What does it mean for my kids? All of that is coming up after a quick break, okay?
Perfect.
All right, see
Look
everybody in a
forward
minute.
What makes Bella Set lingerie so unique? For starters, check out the vast selection and size range. Cups from A to K in styles like balcony, plunge, wireless, strapless, and more, including mastectomy and maternity bras. With superior customer service and free professional fittings, it's the go-to bra shop in the East Valley. Locally owned, with 2 locations in Ahwatukee and Gilbert. Check out our glowing reviews on Google and Yelp. Visit bellasetlingerie.com to learn more.
I'm excited for this one, Steve. Welcome back to our Move the Needle podcast because of the subject matter. I'm really excited about this.
I knew you'd be.
Yes.
I knew you'd be.
So we're going to get with Deb Shapiro and Amanda Schnieder in just a couple of moments. Now we're about to sit down with Laura Hertzler, who's been the head of school over at Keystone Montessori since 2011. Is that right?
No, I've actually been with the school since 2011.
Okay.
I've had a couple of different roles, but I've been in the head of school role since 2000, well, right before COVID, 2019.
Okay. Which was your favorite role?
I would say the one I'm in now.
You would?
Yes.
Sincerely?
I know it sounds a little crazy, especially after COVID, but yes, I would say this is my favorite role.
Yeah. Because I forgot who we were talking to a couple of weeks ago, and they're like one of the big bosses now. We were like, what was your favorite job on the way up? You know what I mean? Because when you get in the big chair, man, now you're responsible. Now
Right.
all the things
Everybody's
land on
looking at you.
Right.
I've enjoyed all of them, and they've all helped me be the leader that I am now.
Okay. So I want to talk about a bunch of different stuff
Yeah,
as it
go
relates to
into it.
Keystone Montessori and the Montessori education, but we're going to start with something a little bit more mass appeal,
Okay.
which is the fact that you love to attend music concerts.
Oh my goodness. So someone told on me. Yes, I do.
You love to see shows. And so I want to start with maybe one of your favorite shows that you ever went to. And then if you can't really recall that, maybe the last show, and then I'll poke and prod there.
Okay. Well, I think it was really exciting for me to be able to take my daughter, who is now, who did go to Keystone Montessori. That's actually how I came to be there. And she's now a junior at Desert Vista High School. And she knows how much I love New Order and Joy Division. She's also become a fan, and so we went to the Peter Hook concert a little while back together.
Okay.
So that was a great experience to have.
All right. What's been your favorite show of your life? Do you have that moment? Is there anything that stands out?
Gosh.
I'm
Probably.
asking you next, Steve, so get ready.
Well, I probably
I
would
got
say the U2 concert. I went to Los Angeles a couple of years ago when they had their 30th anniversary of their Joshua Tree.
Yeah.
Because I actually went to the original Rattle and Hum concert when I was in high school, and they filmed here.
How were they different?
They still have the
I know.
energy and vibe,
Yeah.
and it's just amazing to think like how old they were the first time that I saw them, and but I think even more cohesive now. Yeah.
Okay. What do you like about concerts?
I like that.
Don't say ticket prices, because I'll know you're lying.
No,
That's
my
not-
goodness, no. I remember when you'd stand in line at Diamonds to buy tickets for about $5-10, but I would say that it's a community coming together for something joyful, and you can just feel the energy, and obviously the people who are performing really love what they do, and it's just a very communal experience.
Yeah. That's
And
it for
leave-
me,
and leave-
too.
Yeah, leave with a
Yeah.
high.
Everybody's on the same page.
Yes.
Everybody's the same
Yes.
vibe. Like, it doesn't matter
Yes.
who you are, where you're from, what you like, what you don't like. It's like we're all here to jam.
Yeah.
Your favorite show, Steve, of
My
all
favorite
time.
So okay, of all time, I've got two. Since we're talking about that cohesiveness, I've been privileged to go to probably about 12 Grateful Dead shows and see Jerry Garcia, and so those were the most communal concerts I've ever been to, and miss those. There's never been anything close to it. Miss that. It's those were experiences I can't. But I also, dating myself, I also saw Kiss back in 1978 when they were the hottest ticket in the world.
Yeah.
In the world, you couldn't see it, and I was about this far from Gene Simmons when he was.
He could touch you with his tongue.
Spitting
He could touch you
blood.
with his tongue.
They
Yeah.
were spitting blood. And they were shooting fire, and I was. My dad let my cousin take me. I was probably too young to go. My eyes were wide open, learning way too much. Too young.
I remember
But
interviewing.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I rember interviewing Gene Simmons, and after I got done with that interview, I said, boy, that guy loves himself a lot.
He's an egomaniac.
He
that's for
loves
sure.
himself a lot. Nobody loves Gene more than Gene, man.
But they were showmen, I must admit, and I still think back at that show. That's an easy one to pick out because, I mean, that was when they just did it all, and it was at their height. And I'd probably say that was probably when they would even agree that was their highlight when they were kind of touring back. This late 70s. That's when the music sounded good. That was before all the mix up. That's when you went and actually they were singing. I mean, there was no manipulation going on there. There was rock and roll.
Here's something else that's interesting about you, Laura, is that once upon a time you rode your bike from San Francisco to Los Angeles for
Yes.
charity.
Yes.
So this is a road bike, I'm guessing.
Yes, it is.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And when was this?
This was in around 1995, 96.
Okay.
I had recently moved to Los Angeles. I was looking, I think as if that weren't an adventure in and of itself, moving to Los Angeles on my own, but after going to university. But I was going to the gym one day and I saw a poster, at the time it was the California AIDS ride, and it was a bike ride about 600 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles, like a moving city, and raising money for AIDS charities in California. And I didn't even own a bike at the time, but I knew I was determined to do this. It was very important to me. I had done a lot of work with AIDS charities before then. Yeah. And so I used my bonus that year at my job to purchase a bike. I started volunteering with this organization, and I found that I loved it a lot more than my day job. And so I eventually did quit my day job, and I went to go work for the California AIDS right after that.
How cool is that? So how long did it take you to do the 600?
The 600, it was an event that was very well run, and it was over a week.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
because it's, I mean, I've done the MS 150 before where you do 100 the first day and you do 50 the next day. And I found two things to be fascinating about that ride. Number one, on the second day, you stand up until it hurts more than it does to sit down.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And then I found that I could eat anything I wanted while I was riding. And I was shocked. I would stop at these stops and there'd be fried chicken and tacos and people would just be housing this stuff. Yeah, because you're burning calories like nobody's business.
Yeah. It was pretty much an all-day event. And then we would come into a mobile city that had been set up ahead of time. And they would have entertainment for us,
Sounds
full
like a
meal.
lot of fun.
Yeah, it was
Oh
a
my
fantastic
gosh.
experience.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, now we can talk about our day job.
Yeah,
now we can talk about school. Well,
circle back.
Yeah, because it's really cool to me, and I don't remember what article I was reading, but I was reading something about maybe 3 or 4 months ago, and they were talking about the biggest CEOs of the biggest companies in the world. You know this article I'm referencing?
I read that.
And 5 of the 6 biggest companies in the world, all of these people went to Montessori schools.
Yes.
And the one who didn't, his kids go there now.
Yes.
So obviously there's something to this. And so I thought the first place that we should start is, what is the difference between a traditional education and a Montessori education?
Dr. Montessori talked about, looking at the whole child. And so it's not just the academics or it's looking at all of the different aspects of our human development and making sure, because everyone has a little bit different needs. I mean, there are the basic needs that we need as humans, and the basic child development is the same for everyone around the world. But everyone's going to have different interests at different times. And so we talk about following the child. And I think that is why you do get a lot of these entrepreneurs that come out of a Montessori. And so you're not creating just the same little cog churning out every year, is that you're getting children that are growing up with critical thinking skills, compassion for their fellow person, and then looking at what excites them and what do they have passion about and how can they give back to their community.
Have you had any experience with Montessori education?
Only through, really, I've had a long-term relationship with Keystone in Laura in the school in promoting them, and I've just learned about them. Not really.
And you walk inside the doors and everything's different.
So I want somebody from the outside that has just listened and learned along the way. But I'm amazed because of what they've done. I've been covering the Keystone from the travels, the kids. We talk about some of the neat things that your kids do.
Well, I mean, you start from, let's say, our toddlers. We start with 15-month-old, and we serve all the way up to 15 years old.
So that in itself is different.
Yes.
Right, because normal education can't bring them there till they're 5.
Right, and so the children from a young age are learning that they are a part of a larger community, but meeting them where they're at in their development. And so, yes, they do eventually, you start small and with things that are helping them burgeoning independence. And then so by the time they get to lower elementary, that's our 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade classes, is that they have an overnight to where they go away. The parents don't go. There's no parent volunteers. It is just the the staff and going to a camp. And then in our upper elementary, which is 4 through 6, they will end up going on a trip, sometimes out of state. Actually, this past year, they went to Washington, D.C. for a week.
Oh, one of my favorite places.
Yes, and so they are the ones who planned everything. They planned the itinerary. They planned, like, if they needed certain things, they planned their meals. So all of the logistics were taken care of by the children.
Yeah. Well, I teach at a Montessori school, and the kids call it Big Trip, and every year it's the same thing for them.
Yes.
They have to do all the planning. They plan the hotels, they plan the meals, they plan the transportation, the tickets. They're responsible for the whole thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah, they ended up in a hotel though that was less than stellar because it was a teenager.
Hey, that happens to adults. That's real life. I love that. Hey, that's happened to me.
Like, maybe I should have done a little more review.
Yeah, I put the wrong zip code in there. Oh,
I know. And now we're in trouble. What other kind of programming is offered at your school?
Well, we do. Of course, we are what's called an AMI school. It's Association Montessori International, and so we are. Stay in alignment with those, with the accreditation and the expectations that come with that. But then also after school, we offer chess club. We have cooking with one of our longtime assistants, Miss Danielle. We have art classes, music classes. So there's everything going back to what you're talking about as far as like what makes us different or Montessori different is that you are giving them all these different opportunities to figure out what is it that I feel, what makes me feel good, what do I feel passionate about, how can I express myself.
Did you know, Steve, that this is their 30th anniversary? 30 years here in the Toque.
I just caught wind of that, but I know that is a big deal because that is like since the Toque started. So that's like this they were here since the get-go.
Yes, Miss Sherry Sampson, our founder, she knew that she wanted Montessori for her children, and she is a woman with a vision, and so she started. She's like, okay, there's nothing around at the time, and so she's like, then I'll just start my own, and so she started with one children's house classroom. With we talked earlier about one of our original teachers, Miss Yuk Young, and in a classroom in her house, and now we're on 5 acres of campus.
Is there somebody who's been there the whole 30?
Yeah, Miss Yuk Young. She started out as an assistant with the Children's House, and then was encouraged to get her training as a Montessori lead guide, and her children have both been through. Now one's a professor, and the other is a Montessori teacher herself.
At your school or at a different Montessori?
She is actually on the East Coast with her husband. Yeah.
But stayed in it?
Yes.
Okay. I have some more, but I want to defer to you for a second.
Real quick, I want to talk about you were bringing up the students and all the all the different after school programs and their sense of community. I want to know, since you've been there since 2011, have you observed a change in the independence since then? Have you seen a shift? You've been through a lot. I mean, we've talked about COVID, the time. Have you seen a shift in that?
I don't think there is a shift in the need and desire for children to want to be independent. They're looking to you as adults to show them, to give them the tools that they need to be independent. Given the freedom when it's appropriate, when they can be responsible with that freedom. I think what has, especially right after COVID, what was difficult because is the adults being able to kind of let go again, and because things were so unknown during COVID times, it was scary, and you didn't really kind of know what was coming up the next day even, and so it's been kind of retraining ourselves as adults to allow for that independence within the children.
So how's that gone?
It's getting better every year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna have to build. Well, don't I hear this sometimes when I'm talking to other educators that they feel like we lost a couple of years over COVID? Is that? I wonder if that's as true in Montessori, because I would actually guess maybe it's not.
I think what was maybe, I wouldn't say lost, but what is something that we needed to be able to refocus on is that being able to work with one another, the sharing and the
socialization.
Socialization, because we were all at different comfort levels as far as what we were. How much we wanted to be able to interact with other people at the time. And so it was just kind of, just like your muscles and you're going to the gym is like, that's something that you need exercise to. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think that was perfect.
Well, then let's talk about how people can get involved with the school.
Yes.
Is this, I don't know how enrollment works at a Montessori school. Is it like year round? Do you have months of the year where people can jump in?
Yes, I mean, for our toddler and children's house, so that's 15 months to 6 years old, we do have year-round enrollment if there is availability. But our open enrollment for people who are going to be new to the community, that is in February.
Okay. And then how do they get involved? Just go to the website?
Yeah, so they can go to our website, KeystoneMontessori.com, or they can give our school a call, and we'll get them hooked up with Miss Heather Bonacorda, who is our fabulous admissions and marketing director.
What are the waiting lists I need to be aware of? Because I'm sure with the littles, for sure, there's always a waiting list for the littles.
Yeah, we actually had to add a second toddler classroom this year because of the waiting list for our toddler program. So when I tell people, it's like, there's kind of a little twinkle in your eye, put them on the application, on the wait list.
Yeah, right now.
Yes.
Right now, that way it works out. I'm telling you, when I see every day when I'm in the Montessori school, I just compare it to my kids' education because they're at Desert Vista too, and they have that whole experience. The kids, man, there's just something about them. They're so much more socially aware. They're so much more forgiving. They're so much more compassionate. They're so much more understanding. Like they really have these things that are like purely woven into the people they are.
Yes. Yeah, it does become a part of them. And, I hear time and time again from parents of children who are now our alumni that, they have those critical thinking skills. They know when and who to ask for help. And just able to navigate kind of the ups and downs of life a little bit better because they have had that ability to kind of stretch themselves in a safe space.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's talk a little bit about the fundraising that's
Yes,
coming up.
yes.
This is an opportunity to have our community come and help you out a little bit.
Yeah. So we're having it's our 20th annual Fall Festival. And so we have a big fair with games and rides from about 3 to 5. And then we have the live auction that is just for our adults. It's a lot of fun. We have our professional auctioneer that we have been using for years.
Is he one of those guys that like does?
Yes, but he knows how to work our families.
He does?
Yes, he
Yeah.
does. So this is one
That's
of our
a talent.
Yeah, it
Such a
really
talent,
is.
man.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have the children, the classrooms have created each their own art project that is going to be auctioned off, plus a lot of really exciting, unique experiences that people can bid on.
How do I get involved in that?
Again, back to that website,
Yeah, perfect.
KeystoneMontessori.com, and if you just go to, you'll see a little icon that says Fall Festival. You can click on there.
I want to know,
Yeah.
what other fun stuff do you guys have planned the 30th year internally? Can you share
Yeah,
what you
that's
guys
a
are
good
doing?
question. What are you guys doing in the
Yeah, you guys
hallway?
got some fun stuff.
I know. It is, I think it kind of, in a way, kind of snuck up on us because of, getting out of the COVID times and like, oh my gosh, here we are at 30 years. What we are having this year, kind of in conjunction with the Fall Festival, is our first ever alumni reunion.
Oh.
And so we have, people who are now that have been past students. We have one student, actually a staff member, who used to be a student there and is now in our gap year, and she's working there. We have someone who went to Keystone Montessori, and now her toddler is at the school, and even one of our teachers, her granddaughter's now there.
I think that's
And
going to be exciting.
Yeah, so it's going to be good to have.
Yeah, that's
have
talk
that
about good
alumni
energy
meeting.
when you, the different generations.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, our local legend today
Oh,
is
goodness.
Laura Hertzler,
Yes.
Keystone Montessori. They have been so nice and generous and are a great partner of our podcast, and we
Yes.
certainly appreciate
Oh,
that.
my pleasure.
We
and
do.
all the best, you guys. Continued
Yes.
success. We
Thank
cannot.
you.
We need to sit down at the 40th and the 50th.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if we'll all still be around.
Well, we're going to be in touch, so we're going to be getting updates. So
Okay.
Yes.
we'll keep our ear to the track.
Okay,
Right.
sounds good, Laura. Thank you
Okay.
for being on the podcast.
Oh, my pleasure.
Have
Thank
a
you so much for
great
having
night.
me. Okay.
Thank you. Great to see you, Laura.
So it's time now, Steve, for our Move the Needle interview. And this is the one that we usually save for the last.
Usually.
And in most cases because it's the best, but not in every case.
Sure. They're all good.
Yeah, because I don't want to, throw shade on anybody that's been on before Deb and Amanda.
Right.
But I am really looking forward to this conversation.
I knew you would be.
Amplify Voices is built on the foundation of something called DebX, is what I read online. So immediately I want to ask those types of questions. I want to find out what Amplify Voices is all about. I want to talk to Amanda about what her role is in the organization because she went through it, right? So we've got some firsthand experience with all of this, and we're going to do that today with Deb Shapiro, the founder of Amplify Voices, and Amanda Schnieder. What's your role within the organization, Amanda?
I am the executive director.
That's what I thought. Well, welcome both of you to the podcast.
Thank you.
Since we asked our last guest about their favorite concert, I felt like maybe we should have
Sure.
asked you guys the same question. So, Deb, do you have a favorite concert?
Yeah, for me, it was many years ago, actually, but it was a U2 concert. It was the one with the big lemon was on the stage. And for me, what was so amazing was just watching when Bono was up there, and he was bringing the audience into it so much so that people were lost in the moment, clapping their hands and dancing. And I'm thinking, this is the greatest moment because there are tens of thousands of people sitting here in this stadium right now, and not a single one of them is thinking about paying their bills or what they have that's going on that's challenging them for work. And I just loved that, the ability to really just be able to disappear in that moment with the music. He really commanded that stage.
That's what music does better than almost anything. Sports is another thing that does that for people. What about you, Amanda? Favorite show? Do you have one?
Actually, I originally thought Coldplay, and then I just had
That's a
this
good one.
moment, Labor Day weekend, Dave Matthews Band at the Gorge.
Really?
It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, 3 shows. You go and you camp. And yeah, that has been by far the best experience.
Dave, one of your guys?
Dave is, yep.
So let me
I
tell you-
actually have his band tattooed on
You
my
do?
ankle.
So you love this story.
I do.
I'm doing radio in Kansas City, Steve, and it's about 10 o'clock in the morning. and my phone rings, and it's my program director, and he says, "Hey, can you make it to so-and-so hotel in an hour?" I say, "Okay, yeah, no problem. What's going on?" He's like, "You're going to go up to Dave Matthews' hotel room, and you're going to do a one-on-one interview with Dave, and he's going to play a couple of songs. Are you cool with that?" Of course I'm cool with
Very
that, man.
cool with that.
Yeah, so I drove to this ritzy hotel in Kansas City, and I walked up, and there he was, Dave Matthews Band, and I sat there with this man, and we had a little exchange, and he played a couple of songs, and it was freaking unbelievable.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
I know.
I can't even imagine.
He played Gravedigger, which is one of my favorite songs. It's a little bit morbid and sad and all the things, but it's an incredible tune. And then I don't know what else he played, but it was a magical moment. I know.
Amazing.
I thought you might appreciate that. So let's
love
talk
that.
about Amplify Voices. What is this organization that you ladies have decided to wrap your hearts and hands around?
Well, Amplify Voices, we are an advocacy incubator. We actually work with marginalized communities, individuals who have historically been silenced or misunderstood, so that we could help them tell their story in such a way that it could make a difference for other people who are also on that journey. We've had an opportunity to work with women impacted by sex trafficking, the formerly incarcerated, women with breast cancer, and in 2025, we are going to be launching the Voice of Mental Wellness.
This is unbelievable. That's my lane right now. So I'm a speaker on the mental wellness circuit, and I talk about dysfunction and breaking the cycle, and it's really one of my passion projects.
Okay, then we need to have a lot more conversation beyond today, for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's the one thing that I'm so passionate about. Actually, that's how you entered the equation, right, Amanda? And you were the year that was about the trafficking and sexual abuse. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is that one of your stories?
Yep. So I was sexually assaulted 8 years ago and was always vocal about my experience on social media, just because, I was 40 years old. I had 3 little boys at home, happily married, at a luxury resort at a work conference, and somebody slipped a drug in my drink. And I really, always thought those were reserved for 20-year-olds out at clubs, and it didn't happen. And so I, wanted to bring awareness to that. And a mutual friend of mine knew my story and knew what Deb was up to at the time, and said, "I feel like you need to talk to Deb." And so we talked, and I became the 7th speaker in Amplify's inaugural program.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Because, those stories have a tendency to really, really work on people, and not in a great way. Mm-hmm. But I think the freedom is getting it out, is saying it, is sharing your story. Because otherwise, what the hell did it happen for? Like, if I can't help somebody else with this moment, why did it happen? So, now you use it for good, and that's almost a superhero power.
Well, that's what I've found over and over again, is when we can turn something that has been painful to us into something that can make a difference for others. There's more healing in that process. And in sharing your story, it's healing for yourself, but it also gives others permission to share their stories. And there's this connection. While the reason for that connection isn't great, but it's just a really powerful connection that you can make with others when you've got that vulnerability and courage to speak what's happened to you.
Well, what specific tools and platforms does Amplify Voices provide to individuals? What do you offer?
Well, you had mentioned DebX a little bit earlier, and I've been in the speaking industry actually for about 16 years. I had the fortune of partnering with my brother, who was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame back in 2015.
For NSA?
Yes,
Oh,
yeah.
that's cool.
And that opened.
I'm a proud NSA member.
Are you an NSA member? All right, cheers to you. Wonderful. But it was wonderful, and it opened up a lot of doors for both my brother and myself. However, for me, where I found myself spending most of my time was in coffee shops and at my friends' house and at their friends' houses, having conversations with them about what's their life lesson that they've learned on their journey. And they wanted to be able to figure out, how do I package that and give it away? Because I know that this could make a huge difference for other people. And so in 2017, I created a program called DebX, yes, tongue-in-cheek with TEDx, but it was intended to allow individuals to kind of dip their toe in the proverbial waters and learn how to be able to be a keynote speaker without having the years that they need to put in to make that happen. And we had incredible success with that. The tools that we use may not make sense here, but we really have a very simple tool, which is called the structure of the talk. It's 7 simple questions that if you can answer those 7 questions, you can write a talk on any topic. It's really a simple process, and we believe that simplicity is one of the keys for people to be able to move this forward, because if you add complexity, then it just is one more thing in the way of people sharing their voices.
Yeah, and when you're talking to people, that this idea that it has to be simple is really important, because if your talk is too messy, if it's all over the place, and you're like, yeah, but I have to hit this, and I have to hit this, and I have to hit this, and I have to, and this story happened, and it's like, hold on a second, pal. Every word you use, they're not going to remember. So what do you want here? You know, because there's what you say and there's what people hear.
Yes.
And, you know, if you're going to get all over the place, I mean, it's the same thing with this podcast,
Right.
man. If we're all over the place, we're going to make it hard for people to listen to us. And that's not the goal, especially with your organization. You're really here to amplify these voices, and you've done so with more than 100 speakers.
Yes.
So as you think about the 100 speakers that you've had a chance to work with, and both of you, maybe this is a question for both of you, but who are some of those real special folks that stand out as you think about the Rolodex of speakers that has come through? Are you both thinking about the same person? Is that why you're looking at each other?
Oh, I don't know. There's so many, actually. But there's one in particular. Her name is Misty that comes to mind. She was in Triumph Over Trafficking with Amanda. And it was interesting because we were about 3 weeks into the program, and she disappears. She's not returning our phone calls. She's not showing up at the trainings that we're supposed to have. And of course, we're very nervous about it. She had been trafficked, and she'd never shared her story with anyone before other than her husband and her son. So for 20 years, she had gone without sharing this. And we were in this training, or she ended up reaching back out to us, and we found out that in the last 2 weeks, what had happened. So she had heard another woman in our program share her story for the very first time. It was in that moment that she realized that she had actually even been trafficked. Because when you swim in that water, you don't necessarily label it, it's just your life. And so she heard that, and that was coupled with the talk that she started to write. And her talk was, I am good. She rediscovered for herself that no matter what she had been told growing up in her life, that she rediscovered, I am good. So it was between those two things where she got in her car, she drove from North Carolina down to Florida where she had been trafficked, and she went and knocked on every single one of the doors of the juvenile system that she had gone through, and she said, I made it, I am good. And she just had this pride about her that she came out to be able to share something that she had never told to anyone else. And when she was able to do this powerfully, it literally shifted her life. She started after that to start working with other women who had been impacted by sex trafficking as well.
Incredible. Amanda, is there somebody that stands out for you other than yourself?
Well, a couple. So Keelan Washington also went through the program with me. She was in Triumph Over Trafficking, and since then she has been just on fire, just going across to keynote speaking for different conferences and winning awards, and just she is so incredibly well-spoken and really making an impact out in the community, which is what we really want. Amplify isn't, you end up on a stage at the end of the program and that's the end. We want that to be the beginning part of their journey to continue going on and using their story and voice to create change. And Keelan has been an excellent example of that. Okay.
You have a question you want to jump into? Because I'd love to understand the process of how it works for somebody. Because maybe I'm listening to this right now and I'm like, you know what? I have a story. I have a story that needs to be shared, especially as it relates to wellness in 2025. I've gone through a real serious mental health journey. How do people get involved with you?
Well, there's a variety of different ways. When we first started it out, when we were doing DebX before, all we needed to do is post on social media and say, hey, we're posting for DebX, and we'd take the top 15 and away we went. You can't do that with sex trafficking and sexual assault. We weren't going to post and say, hey, who's interested in coming to join us? In this particular case, the first one that we had was all word of mouth. Somehow it just started to spread and people showed up. But after that, we started to show our documentary that we have, which highlights the 7 women that started this whole thing running. So we have that documentary, and then we started doing watch parties of that, and women literally started coming out of the woodwork saying, we want to have a voice. We want to be able to tell our story. And so we needed to expand our services because our program is normally 90 days. It's on a stage. There's a lot of resources there. So what we did was we created a truncated version of it where we could do it online. There was no need for a stage so that we could touch many more women and being able to give them the opportunity to share their story.
I'm just going to say it right now, Steve. This is what women do so much better than men. So much better than men. Man, if we put a call out right now for men to talk about their problems, it'd be crickets.
Oh, crickets.
But, I mean, hearing that women are really, because you're so good at community. I mean, that's the thing, right? If there's a point of differentiation, it's that. So as these folks come in and they get started, what happens in those 90 days?
Well, we go through an intensive program where we meet 3 times over the course of that period for full days, and we give them the tools that they need. We meet in between that period of time as well, online via Zoom, and we practice our talks that way. We also use tools like Marco Polo so that they can stay connected. It's a video chat tool where people can stay connected to one another throughout the course of the program. But really, it's asking the question, if you had 8 minutes to change the world, what would you say? And we give them that simple 7 questions to answer to say, what's that message? What's the thing that really makes a difference for me? And then we have them just go through a really simple process for them to be able to pull their story out. And then we give them some tools to ground them so that they can actually get up on that stage and deliver it.
It's
Because
scary.
as you can imagine, right, your bodies get hijacked, and standing in front of people is not the easiest thing to do in the world and tell, especially such intimate stories.
Those types of stories.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
I can
What would you
imagine.
do with 8 minutes, Steve? What would be your story? What would you do
Boy,
to try to change the world?
Boy, you're putting me on the spot. Well, I feel like I'm living my mission currently. I would talk about what I'm doing right now with Deb, Amanda, and everybody else that we're doing on these shows by exposing what they're doing in the community. And so I would talk about my 8 minutes about what my future is on this show, because to me, we are impacting the community by helping and exposing people that have these amazing messages and putting them on this podcast. And I just feel more connected, honestly, to the community in what my missions are in life and what my goals and what I want to do. And we're able to impact, even in this short time since we've launched this podcast, which we have, big goals for this. We have a big future. But even this short period of time, we were talking, the people we've had on they have had such amazing impacts on the community. Ahwatukee, Chandler, Gilbert, Scottsdale. People, Amplify Voices, Ryan House, ICANN. This is just in a short period of time. These are people who are making an impact directly on people's lives in our community, not far away and watching what's happening in Never Land or all these other problems around the world. This is what's happening in our community. So I would, and I'm not spending 8 minutes, but quite a bit of time.
I got the name of your talk. It's called The Power of Putting People First.
Yes.
Okay, there it is.
Because that's what it is. Our show is about our guests. And that's what it's about.
That was good.
Thank you. He can wrap things. That's why he's here. I got him here.
The power of putting other people first.
Yes, and that's what
That's the
we're.
name of your talk. So
That's
let's
our
work on
goal.
that.
I love it.
8 minutes long. Deb, what are you trying to do to this world?
Oh, what's my let's see. I would say that if you can change your view, you can change your life.
Expand on that.
Well, we go through life, and so this is one of our principles that we talk about in both DebX and Amplify, is, we want to change, if we want to create change out in the community, we need to produce different results. And we all know that in order to produce different results, we need to take different actions, right? The insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. We need to take different actions. But what is it that informs the actions that we take? It's actually the view that we have of the world that drives all of the actions that we take and produces the results that we have. So if you can change your view of the world, you can change the results that you get. And we had, if I may give you a small example of
Let's go.
that.
Are you kidding me? Let's go.
We had an opportunity to work with the Diocese of San Diego and the University of San Diego to work with the formerly incarcerated, people who had been incarcerated anywhere from 10 to 27 years.
Love this group. I work at the Durango Detention Center, and I go speak to the juvenile inmates.
It's great. It's just
The
so,
best.
it was such an
best.
eye-opening experience.
Isn't it?
And we ended up calling the program Restoring Humanity. Because once we could hear the backstories, we could understand the individuals that were going through these processes and why they did what they did, any one of us would have taken the same exact action had we been in their shoes, had we seen the world from their view. And so we were there. They had delivered their talks in San Diego. It was in June, and all the volunteers are there who had flown in from around, the different parts of the country, and even in Canada, came down. And as I'm sitting there at the table, one of the things that I realized was that the volunteers for Restoring Humanity were the graduates from Triumph Over Trafficking and Sexual Assault. The victims of crimes stepped up to support the perpetrators of crimes. And here we are sitting there in San Diego, all at the same table, victims and perpetrators of crimes, loving one another, supporting one another, and lifting one another up. I don't know what world that actually happens in, but it's happening in our world. And if we can change our view of the different individuals that are in our world, we can literally change the relationships we have and chanch people's lives.
Put her on the stage, Steve.
Yeah, I said
Put her on the stage.
that was
Right now.
That's big. I mean those are big people. When you're talking about these people getting together and doing what they're doing, that's you're elevating yourself above it to do that. You're not what I say in the minutia of life. You're pulling yourself out, and I don't even. I mean, some of the things that you hear about. Both ways, with the stuff that happens in incarceration and that happens to victims, and that to have them sitting at the table to put those feelings aside and to work together. I mean,
But that's just it, Steve. I don't think they are putting their feelings aside. I think this is the table where they put their feelings on the table and they come with it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, we're going to just agree to disagree. It's like, hey, we're going to be human enough and adult enough to throw
that's
it
what
all
I'm saying.
on the
I
table
think
and
it's almost,
see what this messy salad can end up tasting like.
But Matthew, I think I'm saying it's almost above human, because humanness would hold hard feelings, and that's all I'm trying to say. That's what I probably said. It's hard feelings, to be able to put those aside and to really open your heart. I mean, you see that. I mean, you do see that from time to time. When the people are in tough situations, that they forgive in situations where you look and you're like, wow. I mean, and that's really, we're talking about forgiveness. I mean, let's bring that word up.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Amanda, when you are in your role day in and day out, what could our community do to be helpful? Like, do you ever sit at your desk and you're like, I wish, I always like to ask people their wish list. Like, I wish this, I wish that. Are there things that you've been talking about lately where you're going, can we get that? What is it?
How much time do we have? No,
Yeah,
just
go
kidding.
for it. No, this is a community podcast, so let's go.
Well, as I still view Amplify as a young organization, and it is Deb and myself day in and day out, and so there's a lot of hats that I wear as I'm sitting at my desk. So I love. We've got a few interns that we've been working with through ASU. It's our second. We had a group go through in the summer and a group in the fall, and I've been really enjoying working with them, and they've been learning and helping in different ways. Love working with volunteers who are passionate about, the causes that we're passionate about, and so, looking for help anywhere from, getting involved on the business side, from social media marketing, grant, all of those pieces. We're loving conversations and seeing how we can collaborate with our community.
My friend Jackson Fonder, who runs a great organization downtown, calls it the room full of the willing. And I think that's what organizations are missing nowadays. There's not enough people in the room that are willing to do what it takes to make things successful. And so I mean, I'm going to translate what you just said, and I'm going to say you're looking for people that are willing, like to be a part of this and to help us grow this, because it's critically important that we don't silence these things any longer. The more we talk about them, the better off everybody's going to be. That's what we have to get to the root of, right?
Absolutely.
What's next for Amplify Voices? How can we help you?
Yes.
Well, moving into 2025, as Deb mentioned earlier, we're moving into the voice for mental wellness. And, when we originally started, we started with a 90-day speaker training experience, the more intensive program. And with this one, mental health is just such a huge, there's so many facets.
It's a juggernaut.
How do you choose 7 individuals to stand on a stage and really get a good holistic, voice out there? And so we're starting with the speaker circle programming first, those smaller, truncated, shorter versions of, smaller programming. So we're going to be rolling those out in early 2025. We've been working with Nationwide, the training and performance division. They have partnered with us and are creating a Train the Trainer program because, I feel funny talking about Deb has been doing all of our programming, and she can only do so much. So we're going to.
What? You're not Superwoman?
Well, she is.
Well, I am, but I can only lead so many.
So
even Superman needs a break.
That's right. Even Superwoman needs a nap. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be training. Our goal is to train 10 individuals who can facilitate speaker circles, and they'll go out into the community and start. And we'll start listening and start hearing what those messages are in the voice for mental wellness, and then from there move into our next 90-day program. So
outstanding. Yeah. We will link to Amplify Voices in our show notes. I did do a little sneaky research on you, Amanda, and I found out that every morning you and I start our days the same way with the capsules from Juice Plus. Are you still in that?
You did. Well, you're good. I am.
Yeah. Are you?
I am. It's been. 13 years.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was pregnant with my youngest and started on it, and
our kids
I don't
take
do
it.
a whole
My
lot of
wife
consistency in my life, but that's the one
I
thing.
don't even know what you're talking about.
It's basically like
do you know what it is, Deb?
I do. I know because of her.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you get all your fruits and veggies in a capsule instead of having
almost
to
like
eat
a V8 in the
It's
capsule.
the easy
Kind
button.
Oh.
No matter what kind of day you have, busy or not, you know that you're getting, some
You
good
get your-
nutrition.
okay.
And they
I
make
love it.
this thing that I'm actually in love with, and I would love to buy one. It's like a plant stand, and you keep it inside. You know what I'm
I
talking
have
about?
6 of them. Well, I have 5 of the Flex, and I have 1 of the indoor ones.
Do you have one of these, Deb?
No.
But they're incredible. What do you grow?
Anything that's not a root vegetable. Although I did try, I tried radishes last season just for fun, and they turned out these long, interesting ones. But yeah, tomatoes
I
are my
kill
favorite.
bamboo, so no,
Not you.
I do not have one.
There it is. All right. Well, listen, thank you guys so
Yes.
much for coming on our podcast. Love the work that
And
Amplify
thank
Voices
you
is doing.
what you guys do. I mean, again, like another groundbreaking, let's call it what it is, in the community, what they're doing. It's amazing.
Thank
Well, and
you.
you're using this pain for purpose, which is a phrase you hear all the time, and you're helping amplify these folks and make sure they get heard and seen. I mean, I can't imagine a greater gift to the world.
Can we share something exciting coming up?
Do we have to?
Wish I had a
Yeah.
drum roll. If I
Yes.
did, I would hit it. It's drum roll worthy.
It is very drum roll worthy.
Okay, here it is, right here on the Move the Needle podcast.
Okay.
Which camera, Max? This one. Look right into
This,
that.
into
we go.
this,
No,
which one?
Right there.
This
Look right into
camera.
that camera and make the announcement.
All right. So the announcement is, as we mentioned before, we have a documentary called The Journey, which chronicles the first 7 women who completed the 90-day program through Amplify Voices. And we just got word literally last week from Delta Airlines. It is going to be screened on in-flight entertainment for 2025 for the first 4 months.
It's freaking awesome.
Yay!
That's huge.
It's such a cool thing. You always wonder when you're on the plane, so how'd they get here?
Yeah.
Right?
How did that happen?
Oh, there was a seed that was planted. Actually, the woman ultimately who planted the seed for me to start Amplify Voices, she had been abducted and trafficked at the age of 13. She still couldn't talk about what had happened to her over 50 years ago, and she had worked for Delta. And when all of this started, she planted the seed at Delta, and it just kind of disappeared for a while, but last week we got an email from
Popped
them
up.
saying, we would like to have your journey on in-flight entertainment.
I'm a Delta guy. I fly Delta pretty much primarily, and so I can't wait for my next flight.
Okay.
I know watch.
Okay.
That would be
That's I love the news.
Congratulations.
I love you
you.
correcting news on our podcast. So
breaking news.
breaking
right
news.
here.
I love
Yeah,
that.
I love that. All right, good stuff. Well, thank you guys so much for coming by.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
Yes.
the best. I'm
Thank you.
What you
I'm
do.
hoping there's more here. You know, we got to talk
Yeah,
mental
yeah.
health.
Definitely.
and
Oh, for
wellness.
sure.
We will stay in touch. There's no doubt. Thank you guys. Thank you for what you do.
Steve, great job today on the
Yeah.
podcast.
I thought we had some amazing guests. A lot
Who was
of
your favorite?
diversity.
Just kidding.
The people sitting in front of me. I
Honestly,
honestly.
say Sunny because otherwise she's going to kick
Oh
your
yeah,
ass
Sunny.
tomorrow.
I'm going to see
in
Sunny at 6
your
o'clock.
class. Yeah.
And I'm not just saying this. I've enjoyed all of our guests. I would
do too.
I would really have a hard time picking it, and that's being all honest.
You don't have to.
Yeah. So they're amazing. So
Thanks to Sunny Settles at
Yes.
F45, Laura Hertzler rather, at Keystone Montessori, and of course Amanda and Deb from Amplify Voices.
in our advertisers, of course.
Bill Lissette.
We've got Keystone Montessori,
Yes.
who we can't forget them. Laura Hertzler.
And of course, Savvy Real Estate.
Yeah, Amy Richardson, who couldn't be here tonight. I know she was going to be part of the meeting, but had something come up. So thank all of our sponsors, and thank you again. Thank you for what you do in the community. Thank you.
See everybody next time on our
you.
podcast. Have a great day, guys.